off the board. Where does this B1 go? A lot of those powerful B1 picks are off the board, like we talked about with the Ashe Callista, the Cassante. A Yone blind, while flexible, still would be a pretty aggressive call in my mind.
Yeah, for XQW, I think it just opens them up to be a big playmaker. We saw in parts of that first game where XQW was making Azir shuffles to win them the game. It was looking really, really good, and I think, hey, the Yone is a perfectly fine answer, especially because we have been able to see it so far earlier on in the year. I wonder if TES here now, are they going to try to take away the Sejuani? That has been a very, very potent pairing, and wonder where they're where their head's at on the draft.
Aurora was taken away in the second phase up against Esports last time around. Is a very good pairing with the Nocturne, so it still works self-sufficiently. Is also kind of flexible. Don't think we've seen a lot. We haven't seen it from 369, but you definitely can throw either Aurora or Yone top and mid lane depending on how the comp comes together. But I'm with you all. Don't want to leave that Sejuani up. I think it's such a powerful pairing with the Yone in general. But we already know where that Aurora is going with the 369 Gnar locked in. And there's the Sejuani.
Okay, so now you need to play sort of a strong side top laner. I think Jax is perfectly fine. It does mean that your range is pretty limited. And it means that on the bounce back, on the 4-5 here, TES, they have a couple of options when we talk about their third pick. They can go for a jungle here, just to try to match their opponents, or snap up an 80 carry of their choosing. Varus is very, very good right now, and the fact that you can either go for the poke build or for the on-hit build, the on-hit build will give him more DPS and a little bit more sustainability, as typically you're getting stuff like Terminus, Wit's End, Jockshow, these kinds of things.
There we go.
Okay.
The Kanavi special gets his Vi, locks that one in. Now I think the fate of that Varus has been sealed. I'll expect that one to be banned away from LGD. Going to just be pretty bottom lane focused with all of these bans as the Shaoye Ziggs gets its love. We saw a pretty amazing, near perfect, I believe, Gala Ziggs yesterday in those IG wins.
Yeah. So, couple of things I want to note here. One, for both of these 80 carries, we're obviously kind of looking at Varus as a potential. AP damage is going to be at a premium here for LGD, so any mages that they have access to are definitely going to be a little bit more important. Maybe we get the legendary, the purported Syndra that has been avoiding bot lane for so long. But I think for me, what I'd like to see from TES is actually go for a support blind on 4 and then look to pick up JackeyLove's champion on 5, because JackeyLove has been someone who really likes to be very dominant in lane and can be a great team fighter, and I think opening up a potential Draven angle this game could be very, very profitable.
Draven angle, that would be...
We got 2 Draven players here. Shaoye has also been playing the champion a bit. It's one of his most played in his career.
Great call out. I still think if Varus goes unbanned, it would be so good on
All right, so what happens? What happens when Varus is banned? What happens when Varus is banned? What else do we pick?
Draven.
No! Blind support here, please, TES! Give me some blind support. Anything versus a melee champion. Honestly, Braum versus what LGD have is not bad. Leona is fine. Rakan is very flexible in what he's able to do. Now, LGD, are you going to be taking away the Xayah pair? That seems like that has been kind of the answer for most of LPL.
Shaoye going to pick up the Xayah. I like having the Feather Storm into that pretty, consistent combo of the Vi and the Aurora coming over top. Get away from those charms, maybe delay the cease and desist some. Can buy you some pretty pivotal space if Shaoye wants it, and he will lock it in.
I also just think it makes it very difficult for Vi now. Like, who is Vi targeting? Vi can go for Jax, but I think if he's able to get the Counter-Strike down, a lot of the damage from TES is going to be mitigated. Yone as well could try to interrupt it using his E. So many options here. LGD probably looking for an engaged support. Again, Braum, Leona, all these things are up. Alistar even works. We're getting more enchanters. Okay, so there was a big gauntlet thrown at the very beginning of the season as we wait for what JackeyLove is going to be picking, the Ezreal. So notoriously very difficult to get on top of, but I think a lot of CC, and I think this Lulu gets so much value this game. YCX really flexing the enchanters versus the engage pool.
Yeah, really getting in the bag. Unfortunately for YCX, after this game, I think you lose all your really valuable enchanters for the meta, with Renata and Seraphine already going in the Lulu, but provides a ton of value. I think JackeyLove, though, is in a spot to really cook if he can get ahead on this Ezreal. As an Ezreal OTP myself, I got to do my little speech, but the main point here, Alk, is that the range is still pretty low. I know you can have the Yone can be an issue to get to the back line, the Jack's coming across, but the fact that JackeyLove, if he can start getting spells chained, he can really create a lot of space and be a pretty big disruptor just front to backing through a comp that doesn't have a way to deal with him.
LGD are very short ranged, so when their ability to actually turn fights is going to be predicated on them actually landing abilities. And when you look at TS, they have so much mobility. They have the kind of ease of being able to dip in and out of fights with, you know, the Aurora W and all of the different mobility spells from almost all of their champions. And their team fighting is still very, very potent. So we need to be able to see them set up around objectives, especially see how Chris plays his Rakan, which is one of his most popular champions to play in his career. He's one of the best Rakans being able to play, and I think it leans a little bit more on his strengths of being able to find creative engagements and also kind of toe the line as you know, the one of the go buttons for this team.
In and out, looking to be the job constantly on this Rakan for Chris nonetheless. Big test here for LGD, though. It's always tough for young teams to bounce back from tough losses, even with the stakes that we have here off of that blast cone. Let's see how the young guns look. They can have that goldfish memory as they need to find this win if they want their series and playoff hopes to be alive up against top esports.
Get some Chayos for
Get
our crews. Yeah. Yeah, like you were saying, LGD, though, need to be able to bounce back. Look, games like that happen. Usually, you know, that happens in the first 15 minutes. You're able to remake. But in a late game situation like that, sure, it's fine. I want to see what Creme is able to do. Aurora was one of the champions that he was able to have a bit of influence on in previous series. And we are on 2.3, on 1.3, so should... Oh, no, we're on 1.2, aren't we still?
I think so.
No life patch. No life patch, no electrocute changes. Never mind. I'm getting debated. But you'll see Sasa on the lane swap as well.
That means I got debated on the Chemtech changes too. So
yep,
Chemtech isn't as powerful as before. We're doing a little dancey dance, looking like a middle school function right now. With everybody just huddled on their own side, scared to make the first move. It's just going to be a couple of exchanges. Jungle start is marked though there from Kanavi, as everybody does return to their lanes. It isn't fully standard, but hey, we still get bottom lane versus bottom lane, top lane versus top lane.
Wait a minute. No, Shaoye, YCX, no! You shouldn't have hit the minion wave! Oh, they could have denied Crisp and JackeyLove level 2, and you are already going to have push just by playing Xayah and Lulu. You're playing double ranged. Also, you have the ability to kind of naturally push the wave as you're playing Xayah, so bit of a mistake there. We'll see if that's actually able to come back. I think that the 2v2 engaged amount of damage that JackeyLove and Crisp will have will be a bit more surprising. And actually, we kind of missed where it happened. Must have happened around the Raptor pit, but Shaoye doesn't have barrier already.
Oh, yeah.
That happened during that level 1. That must have just happened during there, so that's a big win for TES.
Especially helps that Creme's able to get a shove going in this middle lane. Kanavi pathing down, potentially towards Sasa with his push going. Both junglers going to make their way down. Kanavi gets a lot of extra space bought by Creme here. Actually going to see if he can go for an invade. The timing on here could be a bit awkward with Climber rocking up.
Creme can move over. Climber's going to come into this, but already half HP. Got a lot of damage from this Vi, and XUW is almost dead here. This is basically unplayable.
Yep, there he's going to have to surrender so many of these camps. I mean, nobody can really come and help him. That was, man, Climber in these blast cones, man. He just hit that one and go straight up, and oh boy, now Kanavi's still on the hunt here. Vault Breaker going to land through.
That's a kill.
Couple more autos. The PM flash. Climber, no.
And maybe it just goes from bad to worse here. 369, maybe he gets the solo kill here. 369 does have the flash. Leap strike.
Pop. W, there we go. All right, Sasa gets his 1v1 win against 369. That alleviates some pressure from whatever we just saw.
Yeah, feels bad for Climber to lose out on that, but thankfully for LGD, the top laner here, able to make do with some top lane bouts, and the wave is bouncing towards him as we get a replay of this. It just feels bad. Climber, you just can't be here on this side of the map. You know that Kanavi's going to be here. Your mid waves aren't going to be able to move, and Sasa's not going to be able to do anything either. Let's see what happened here. Is it literally just, okay, cool, yeah, 369 got outplayed by
Counter-Strike diff.
Fully stacked up Counter-Strike. Yep, happens. Maybe he just didn't have the hop. That's probably why we didn't see it here from 369. I'm gonna hope that one of the top lane greats of LPL just didn't decide to press E. We're going to just assume that the cooldown was not there, and 369 able to get taken down.
Yeah, he probably felt so comfortable. He's like, who would fight me in this stacked of a wave? Kind of forgot about Jax's one game-breaking ability.
Turns out he's pretty OP. We'll see what happens. I expect more from 369. We saw more in that last game especially, and going up against Sasa, we talked about the kind of parallels between these two, and for Sasa especially, I think it would be such an important series for him and for the rest of LGD if they're able to not only beat up on a TES who aren't at full form, but also qualify for playoffs. This is our last day of groups, and this is the last the last game for a final spot in our top 8 of playoffs.
XQW going to teleport back here into lane. Despite all the harass he's gone through, Creme getting some serious combos down. Actually staying pretty convincingly close with these CS numbers. Kanavi trying to help out the one lane, seems to be suffering so far with Sasua down. No flash available, going to hold the counter strike. Vaultbreaker will land, but he uses the stun to create some more space here. 369 stepping up in that mini Mega Gnar form, but no kill, just some pressure.
And look at where we're being applied to right now. YCX already sitting in mid, trying to help XGW get push in mid lane. And Climber will get spotted on this ward, but, I mean, that vision cone doesn't see very much. You see Kanavi here mid. Crisp, I think, gets spotted as well. We're getting a 3v3 in mid at 6 minutes already. They want to take control so they can play for either objective on any side lane.
Always a fan when you leave the Ezreal to his own devices. One of the safest solo lane 80 carries between worlds. Thrown down from Creme. First ultimate available. No real follow-up damage, though, and LGD are able to get back to their turret before Chris can find an angle in with the Grand Entrance.
That's a big win, I think, for LGD. No ultimate now for this Aurora, and pretty low mana, so we'll probably only get one rotation of spells before they go down. XQW also has the ultimate. Sasa has moved. 369 has no teleport and is nowhere near Mega, so LGD should be able to grab these grubs.
Jump on top of him. Kanavi not willing to step up. JackeyLove just priming with some mystic shots, and they're going to work their way through these grubs, find themselves the first monster slaying feat of the game here.
Okay, nice. I mean, that's good.
All right.
You take those as LGD. Great job of being able to survive in mid, and Creme maybe over-expecting how much damage the rest of him and his team would be able to do. So, turns into some early grubs here, which would be nice. Remember, talking about their side lanes here, Yone and Jax, potent side laners by themselves, and especially in a long lane versus something like an Aurora or even this Gnar. I think XQW and Sasa could get a lot done if this game is able to go late and they start to get more grubs under their back pocket.
We saw it last game. It's what kept Top Esports in the running. 369 able to really stretch the map with his advantages. Sasa maybe looking to play that same role on the flip side here. Able to take a top lane plate with ease. We'll see where these junglers want to divide their attention, though, too. Both clearing their top sides up, and that Cloud Dragon is sitting and waiting, so lonely. Or Hextech Drake, excuse me.
I mean, Kanavi could look towards topside. He has level 6. You know that this Jax should have his flash coming back up, but I think would relieve a lot of pressure here for 369. And look what's happening in the bottom side. LGD, their bottom lane's trying to push up. 369, can he find it with Kanavi?
He's got Mega coming up. This time going to flash over the flash from Sasso to get the slam into the wall. Does go down to about 1 HP before the cease and desist gets the kill. 369 as Paul's just ever on his staple Gnar to find that solo kill, or kill for LTS.
Climber is just nowhere in the area. He finally gets the tri-brush, but his top laner's already fallen. They haven't started the dragon either, so 369 will get alone time on this turret. He'll trade the turret plate that Sasa was able to grab there, as well as that kill, and the flash has got to be feeling so nice for TES as being able to grab that away from the Jax. Maybe XQW gets some damage onto Creme. He finds another Q3 plus ult.
Right.
Fade Unseal just to get out.
Low mana there from Creme, though. I wonder if he would be able to turn that with the ult taking all of his resources out there. Word on this Drake pit, so TES are aware that Climber and company are taking this dragon. The True Shot Barrage is going to hit a lot of people. XQW gets canceled out of his recall, but don't think TES can really stop this Drake take with Kanavi just now arriving to the scene, and the first two neutrals go LGD's way.
Prepping, I think, mostly for the next grub fight, willing to give over this early dragon as a minute and a half's time, Creme's ultimate's going to be back up, and you're going to have a better lane state in the mid lane for you to be able to actually play off of this. So now TS find themselves with a small advantage. A lot of it is coming from Kanavi in particular here, so we need to see what the kind of starred general of TES is able to accomplish on this Vi. Has ultimate coming up in the next 30 to 45 seconds. I'm expecting for them to maybe look for a play around one of these lanes in mid or bottom lane as kind of getting some setup. A big one for me now is going to be Chris now taking over to level 6. Him and Kanavi should be roaming around the map and looking to force out summoner spells or grab kills.
Yeah, we're really waiting for some integral draft duos to start getting together and pushing out their agenda. You mentioned, I like it, the Crisp and Kanavi call, but Climber and XQW, right? The Sejuani and Yone is the real go button here for LGD. Haven't seen those two really link up yet, and you really feel the pains of how rough Climber's start was to this game, maybe slowing LGD down outside of everything but those neutrals we talked about.
Ooh, and this is going to be a big win. How fast can XQW actually clear this bottom side map? Because he should be able to, whenever he wants, really teleport for a play near grubs. We're getting completed items for both of our junglers here. It was a Sundered Sky done for Kanavi and for Climber, already finishing off the Zeeks. XQW, though, is probably going to have to just commit the teleport to bottom lane. Yeah.
Fate Unsealed, not going to be able to find any further push, and that Between Worlds threat from Creme is very potent as that ultimate ticks back over to available. It'll allow Creme to reset pretty cleanly as well, seeing the teleport come through. So wonder if he just makes his way up towards the top side here, and yeah, he will.
Yep. Okay. As long as Kanavi just steals one of them, then we don't even have to worry about this camp as a feat of strength. They're going to be able to take at least one. Climbers are getting away from the objective, so they don't even want to play for this. It seems instead they want to see if they can maybe find Creme under this turret, although the wave's going to be gone by the time Sejuani gets here. So I think really Climber's a bit lost on the map right now. He doesn't have very many camps to do. He's going to try and get some vision on the bottom side of the map, but that announcement is going to show that Kanavi was there. He's just kind of been idling, shifting between top and bottom jungle, but not really able to get all that much done. LGD, the high-level prospects who you're looking for in Climber. A couple mistakes in Game 1, potentially a pretty game-deciding one, and now here in Game 2, a little listless.
I also think, you mentioned the target selection issues for this Vi on the top esports side. I think it is kind of hard for Climber, especially early, to find avenues on this Sejuani. Ezreal, especially with both summoners up, cleanse available, really hard to lock down. Same can be said for that Aurora. I do see that we lost. Well, I think that's actually the bug.
Yeah, it's a bug. I don't know what's going on. Like I've been noticing this for the past couple weeks. Yeah, I want to see XQW and Climber actually get stuff done. Like even if you're just forcing the flash. Oh, YCX might be dead. There we go. They force his flash. They'll see Kanavi here, but you're Sejuani. Like yeah, Creme has some hops from the W, but you should just be forcing her flash on cooldown when you have Sejuani ult. And you do not want to be giving time over to TES to be able to get items, specifically for JackeyLove to be stacking up into Trinity Force and the Muramana. If you get to that 2-item wake-up pretty early, then I think LGD are going to have a bit of a problem, especially when you're looking at a team that is trying to really come online with Trinity Forces and Borks to finish for their solo lanes.
XQW doesn't know what's waiting for him. Chris, he pops the ult early because see if he can outlast it. Chris maybe a little bit early with that one. Does flash and Fate Unsealed out. So a bit too quick on the ultimate call there for Chris. Land. But JackeyLove,
never mind.
Will he find his mark? Nope. Gonna go wide there. So XQW survives near death.
Just a beautiful job from him to be able to survive that. Gets the ultimate as well, and now that's not going to be 3 ultimates from TES no longer available for this upcoming dragon fight. In trade for a single one and the flash, which honestly, you'll think you'll take that. Just noticing now, YCX also used the heal to be able to help XQW survive. So, Sasa, you gotta be careful. This is the one-timer here. Your team is resetting. You're the only play on the map now.
He already died to this gank earlier, commits the flash, cease and desist to follow. 369 going to tick over to the Gnar bar. Look for the stuns, doesn't get the W, might not even need the ult, but does it for extra measure. And Feats of Warfare secure with top esports the same way they found their second kill. 369 and Kanavi back at it.
Teleport's coming in. They want to make a play on the bottom side here for LGD. Turret plate's falling. More importantly here, I think 369 can potentially take most of this turret, if not the entirety of it. that might just be feats there. Even Crisp is here, so with 3 grubs, it'll be great for LGD to be able to pick up a Epic monster, but they just lose it straight up. So again, 14.5 minutes here. TS will be getting upgraded boots for themselves, while LGD just trade for a second dragon.
This is the big focal point that we saw from Game 1. The mid-game macro decision-making from Top Esports was really what kept them in despite such stark team fight difference. And in a game that's much closer out of the early game, with them actually leading, it's just even more pressure on this LGD squad. Especially, have we seen Climber even find an angle to click R yet? I don't think we've seen him cast Glacial Prison.
No. Yeah, he's saving it. But look, maybe the first one we see is one of the best to ever done it, right? So we'll give him some grace there, but really wanted to see some early action. And while all this is happening, Kanavi is getting sneaky with it, man. He's been making sure that he's getting camps. He's stealing away camps from the Sejuani, so he's going to explode to an even larger lead. I mean, now with Climber finishing these grubs, Kanavi's a full level over him. He could even start to be an entire full level over him as well.
Oh, there we go. Unsealed, Glacial Prison, right on cue. That's the combo we've been waiting for. Maybe a bit late, but still looks as clean as we expected.
There we go. That's what we wanted to see. This could have been happening like 4 or 5 minutes earlier, but look, we'll take it. LGD, it buys them some time and even forces the teleport out from 369, so Sasi gets a reprieve in the top lane. He'll be able to pick up this wave without any pressure of a Gnar being in his face. Not much damage has been done to the mid structures either, now with them being able to grab that mid tier 1. Cancel doesn't work like that, Crisp. I'm sorry. He got the iframes right as he left. So now they're setting up for the Herald here. LGD, I think, in a really strong spot if they're able to continue this play. 369, after this wave, is he going to commit for the full turret? He's not going to be able to teleport for this, so yeah, why not?
Yep, just knock down more of those structures. It's the one thing he did so well. One of the many things, he did so well in Game 3 was every time Top Esports were suffering difficult fight losses, he was finding those outside turrets to boost their gold back up. Might see XQW get his revenge from Creme here. Tons of damage from that Roar. Flash Vault Breaker for Kanavi. He wants this kill. He's got that instinct in him on his Vi. And this teleport comes through whether you like it or not, Sasa, but he has Climber to back up this time round. Kanavi trying to hop out. Flash forward for Climber to secure the knockup into the stun combination, but it's Chris to save him with the quickness and knockup. Kanavi survives, and the turn comes out. Sasa gets cornered in the alcove. Creme tries to dish the damage out. Good dodges at first, but the turn completed. Kanavi survives, and it's not just Sasa that's going down. It's even more. It's Christmas now for TES Esports as they find all the presents under the tree to the tune of 3 kills.
LGD, it's a Pyrrhic victory. They'll grab a mid lane tier 1, but no ult from XQW means that now they have to invest the teleports from their solo lanes, the flash out from both Climber. I mean, like, it just feels bad. They'll even lose the Rift Herald on top of that. Maybe even a top tier 2 as we see Crisp and 369 hitting on this turret. A great collapse from TES. Explodes the gold lead in their favor.
They even answered the tier 2 turrets. They grabbed that top side one, and Kanavi is just running this game. Already got the Black Cleaver done. Yeah. Awesome to see when guys are performing on their legendary champions that we know them so well for, as we look back at Kanavi just making XQW's life hell.
There you go. He has no ult, has no flash, might as well. And while Climber and them do make it, I want to say that this is incredibly close. I already had called out during the play. We saw Crisp on the flank, and it is with minor moments before Kanavi falls. If that goes down, I don't even think it matters all that much because they still are going to be able to find the damage onto Sasa, but the complete collapse from TES, I will say LGD get a lot for that off of the map, and really what's going to be in trade for it for TES is what they're going to be able to do with this Rift Herald. Dragon spawning in 40 seconds. They can maybe even play for the bottom side Otacon that is there. That'll be spawning 40 seconds after the Dragon. I think that we're looking at it. LGD, in that moment, we're able to take a lot of the structures off of the map from TES.
And that just creates more space for them to play for these Dragons. Remember, they got the opening 2 Drakes. We talked about their neutral dominance off rip. If you get a Mountain Soul on a comp that's low range looking to brawl, could be the X factor despite the gold lead starting to balloon here for Top Esports. And, whoa, was that Okay, I thought that looked. I thought I saw Fate unsealed over XQW as he went back, but I was strict.
Okay. 369's trying to build up Rage Bar. He's actually fighting Sasa in the side lane, but Sasa's winning this.
Wow.
Forces 369 out, and he won't have Meganar for this fight. He's going to have to back teleport to the play, and he's just going to be missing out. So no Meganar here for TES. I wonder if they're going to continue to look for this. Still, a bunch of other ultimates are going to be high impact for this.
369 teleporting back in on the bot side, and Crispal. This could be the flank of dreams. Completely in the dark right now by LGD. XQW, word to the wiser, hops over the wall. Now Chris has to use the quickness to get out of there. Gets polymorph, but is able to dash back to safety. True shot barrage from JackeyLove. Does force all of LGD back. Huge between worlds from Creme. He's looking for the killing blow. Fate and Seal from XQW does not get him out away from the damage. Climber has to be boosted up by YCX. It's TES, even when they're late to the party, still being the belle of the ball.
I just think that LGD are playing with no confidence here. They're not trying to make plays happen on side lanes. Some of the individuals are looking to kind of win their 1v1s, but it just feels like some of the wind is just out of their sails. We haven't seen LGD fight forward. It's always them retreating from plays, never making the play forward to try to find a member who no longer has a sum. So TS, they get the Dragon. They'll be able to kill XQW on the way out. They'll take the Otacon as well. TS might just be getting served up a free 3-0 after getting pushed in game 1.
Oh, it's such a sad thing to see. The power of tilt, even on a stage as big as this, potentially at play. We'll get a replay back, and this started out so well with them being able to survive this flank, but the power of the Aurora and the Ezreal, the range difference we talked about, I think really reared its ugly head in this one.
I just don't know why we're ulting a Xayah here. No one's on top of us. It's a Rakan ultimate and Ezreal. We know that Vi is in the pit and she's nowhere near this. It just feels like LGD are not on the same page. The coordination isn't quite there, and some of the great things that we were excited for coming in for this team. I mean, hell, this was an LGD that made a series up against AL look competitive. Shaoye and YCX were performing in the 2v2. XQW was a bit fearless, especially on this Yone. And Climber kind of just feels like a different beast now. He's not even looking for, look, we're using Yone to get out of these plays. That's it. All you need to do from TS is just leave. No one else is here.
Nobody else. They're going to catch Crisp, though. Does have the revive. They have enough damage to grab that one. Knockup found onto Creme from XQW, but can use the Between Worlds to get himself to safety. Still some gold, but not as much as you'd like, and the wave states in the other lanes are just so rough. Yeah.
This is tough, man. Like, LGD now just get run across the map. This is some of the errors of a team that comes down or comes up from the LDL. Their map plays aren't super in sync, and that has not always been the case for LGD, man. I feel like this is a kind of a love-lost series right now, as I feel like a lot of the horrors of Game 1 are starting to haunt them here in Game 2. Maybe a loss of confidence after being so dominant in Game 1, and I just want to see them go forward. I need to see them actually play with some gumption to actually attack their opponents, because TS are just being able to do whatever they want. They can take whatever turrets they want. They can take whatever objectives they want, because LGD never actually pressed the issue on them.
Oh, Climber maybe trying to defend his turret here.
Like, what is
this? On the back
this?
foot, and they're just allowing Creme to chunk them. They're just gonna let this tier 2 fall. They're once again clicking back towards their fountain and letting Top Esports take whatever they want.
Crisp should never be allowed to do that, man. This guy literally just W'd forward under their turret, and no one's CCing this guy. There's no polymorph. There's no Climber going in. Even though he didn't have the ultimate, I wanted to see him at least use the Arctic Assault. Like, force something. Force a summoner spell. Force TES to actually respond to you, because it just feels like they're posing questions. TES are saying, are you going to let us take this turret? Yes? Okay, cool. Are you going to let us take this dragon? Awesome. We'll take that. You're posing no questions. You're just giving away answers to this team.
And the one thing that, back to your point there, it's Top Esports playing the map well. It's what we expect from them, what you expect from a team up against LDL, but an LDL champion. But the difference was team fights. LGD, they found ways to win fight after fight, forcing issues, not allowing 369 to get in his comfort zone. And if you don't have that, what do you have right now if you're LGD?
You got a game 3. Sasa does get canceled on his recall. I mean, look, There's Baron spawning in 45, Dragon in about a minute here. What I want to see from a team like TES, who is in the lead right now, is just the ability to close this out. You have really strong leads, especially with 369 and Kanavi. And while this has been not the greatest game, or really, I think, a not very significant game here for Creme, I think this Aurora is providing a lot on the map. So keep playing the map, keep playing on your 1-4 style. We're allowing one of your solo laners to split, and I mean, you just take literally every objective you want. TES, this was the level of performance that we kind of needed to see from this team because they haven't been bulletproof. We saw in Demacia Cup that this was a team that ended up falling in the grand finals. It seems like AL might just have their number this season, but some of their games have not been the prettiest. And while we expect this team to go to playoffs, some of the other teams are starting to level up, especially a team like Weibo. That's going to be a second seed they're going to be playing against. You think about all the teams that are in the bottom side of the graphic. Yeah, TES versus BLG is a matchup we could get up as one of the first rounds of playoffs. So they need to be able to shape up and quickly if they want to have a chance of being able to attend first stand.
And right now, they've shaped up pretty well in this second game, just completely commanding the map. The one win con that was really burgeoning for LGD was that Mountain Soul stacking. It's now been completely neutralized as that Drake falls to Kanavi almost all alone. Drakes are evened up. They've lost every turret outside of their base, and Baron now on the Rift. Top Esports, it's one of the most simple plays in League they can go for now. They can look for picks or force them to come party at Baron, but Kanavi's looking for the killer blow to catch off Shaoye. Gets the Featherstorm out first, then puts the Cease and Desist down to a Tweed Worlds from Creme right on time, and this is the TES we needed going up into the playoffs. They are just executing LGD across the board right now.
Shaoye yet again gets caught, and TES, they say, thank you very much. We asked you if we could have your base, and LGD delivered to them on a silver platter. They're going to bust open this base. It's going to be XQW to make a miracle.
And that miracle is all imaginary. Dropped in an instant. Baron not even needed. This one going to be done and dusted way before we can reach 30 minutes. Top Esports went from a blast cone savior to the juggernauts expected they needed to be heading into these playoffs. And they're up 2-0 looking for the killer blow against LGD.
Match point here for Top Esports. If they can show another game like that, I think fans can start to get a little bit excited. But also LGD just kind of fumbling a little bit, kind of lost a little bit in the rift there. And sad to see, especially for a roster of, you know, some exciting rookies from the LDL.
Yeah, we were worried about it, Alk. Not the rust, that's the wrong word. The nerves coming off that bad loss in game one. It just messes up their mojo. And we saw it from the jump in this game too, right? Climber getting pushed out of his jungle and just not making the right read to give it on up. That brutal first blood, I feel like that was just foreshadowing for what the rest of this game came to be.
And we haven't seen, I think, the firepower of this duo from LGD. Like, parts of game one, we got to see it, but they weren't, I think, super in sync as Zinzao and Azir. Climber and XQW, at least in this one, this should have been the game where we really see them as a dynamic pair, running around the map, winning skirmishes. But that just wasn't the case. Part of that, I think, comes from part of the early game. Climber, with that death to Kanavi, kind of ruins a lot of what Sejuani wants to be able to do. The bottom lane wasn't able to really kind of affect the 2v2. You have double ranged into Rakan Ezreal. You should be able to get at least some push, get some damage and trade versus them. It never came to fruition. I think a lot of the early plans from LGD started to fall apart, and part of that is just from the early invade. I think that level 1 where we saw them around Raptors, they never actually pushed Kanavi off, so Climber's already behind, dies in his own jungle. Feels like boom or bust from that point on.
And what really compounds that, you know, aggressiveness issue, the other edge of the double-edged sword, you like to say, with YCX on these enchanters, right, is we're seeing LGD, if they're not confident in team fighting, YCX, he's such a pivotal engage tool. We saw it in some of those highlights with his Rel up against AL, creating good fight windows. The WE series, that Nautilus was constantly clutch. And putting him on enchanters, we talked about it. It looked good. It fit good into their draft. But if Climber's, you know, off tempo, you know, not feeling himself, it has to be YCX to start these fights. And you just can't do that when you're playing Lulu, duty.
Yeah, there's just no engage from this team. That is one of the issues, right? Like, you're just Soul Sejuani and maybe a Jax. But you have to all in. And for TES, they had a lot of ways being able to play around it, a ton of mobility. I think that we got to see a lot from certain members here, especially Kanavi, who has had a lot of questions thrown at him. He has had a lot of ridicule, especially for the end of his spout on JDG. And this time around here on TES, he is supposed to be, I think, leading this team to a championship. To at least one of these splits, we see TES at the top of the scoreboard.
Look at these damage numbers, Alk. I mean, it's disgusting.
SQW never fought this guy, man. This guy was getting milked for numbers.
Shaoye had below 5k damage on AD carry. Like, and it wasn't that disastrous of an early game where they just never got to play.
They just chose to. They made the choice.
They chose not to. Yeah.
We will not be fighting these guys whenever we can, which sucks to see, especially for an LGD roster that we're so excited about. You know, 2 LDL champions from last year. You have a bunch of top-tier rookies or top-tier prospects, especially coming in and top in support, but never really coming to fruition. Maybe in Split 2, right? This is another one of those teams similar to like an FPX or maybe even RNG that in Split 2 we're really excited to see, but in a brutal format here in Split 1 where you play 3 best-of-5s and you're done, it might just be a tale of the format.
You're really seeing these highlights, TES getting into their comfort zone. That's back-to-back classic Kanavi 369 ganks. That's down the real only aggressive player in the early game that we saw from LGD was Sasi. And outside of this one Fate Unsealed Glacial Prison combo, you're going to watch LGD on the back foot every time going forward.
Yeah. I want to just say, if Kanavi doesn't get MVP for this game,
we're trolling.
I already know it's probably going to be Creme again because I saw the popular votes earlier on. I will say this is a much better performance. This was a better performance from Creme. This was not as bad as the Orianna game. So if there are, I also wouldn't be surprised to see Crisp. I think Crisp on this Rakan, he's made his name on this champion in years past, but he this time around, his Rakan was really clean. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's any of these 3.
I just think it's full Kanavi. I mean, even this last fight that decides it, right? Just it was a bit of a jungle in the right place at the right time. It was a complete jungle wipe. It was a jungle canyon, unfortunately. The climber did not climb out of. So I think it should go to Kanavi. We'll see though, as our MVP is soon to come through here, especially on like his Vi, right? Come on, Alk, it's his Vi. Like,
yeah, Vi was going to be such a pivotal champion for this series, so hopefully we get to see it from him. And going further into the series, if TES want to keep it dominant and keep us on a light night, I need to be able to see TES continue to perform. I think, unironically, this is a team that will benefit from more games, especially for, I think, building this duo of JackeyLove and Crisp. We haven't seen too much of them, and it sucks because JackeyLove is such a beloved player here in the LPL, being able to bring home the world champion after debuting. And mechanically, he has always been, I think, at the forefront of AD carries, but
there we go.
Yeah, I really want to see more of what JackeyLove and Crisp can do with more time, because it just hasn't really shown up here. And there we go.
There we go. But that's a good point, right? Because one of the big prevailing thoughts all coming into the LPL split as a whole, looking at new rosters, new pairings, was JackeyLove with Chris, right? That was one of the biggest off-season switch-ups, I would say, when it comes to the LPL in 2025.
I mean, you're replacing Mako, right? Any player that's like replacing Mako, you're kind of filling big shoes. So, I don't know. I'm expecting for TES to close out this series, but maybe LGD got one last fight in them.
Well, if they're going to do so, they've got to find their mojo back, especially between that mid-jungle duo, because they just looked scared out there in this one up against Top Esports after that disastrous game number 1. But we've already had one near reverse sweep happen in the LPL this week. Who says LGD can't get it done if they can get their confidence back? We're going to take another short intermission here. On the other side, we'll figure out if we've got TES dominance to secure a playoff spot or another intriguing series on our hands.